It's a step in the right direction.
Hey everybody, how's it going? We are back again for Gen Z reviews. It looks like we're missing our background today. That's sad. I want our cool boxing ring background. I'm going to try to work on that at some point. But, good to see you all. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about The Mummy today, Brendan Fraser's iconic action film. I've been wanting to see this for a long time, and I think, I just watched Rental Family with Brendan Fraser. And wow, if you're a Brendan Fraser fan, you have to see that movie. I don't think it's in theaters anymore, but it's a tearjerker. It'll really get you going. I think it's definitely a contender for the best movie of the year, at least of what I've seen. So very exciting stuff. But of course, we're going back to 1999. And when people think of Brendan Fraser, they think of The Mummy. And, Luke and I, this is our very first time watching it. We are joined by a very talented panel of people who are big fans of The Mummy, though. And they're going to offer a pretty interesting glimpse in a lot of the smaller aspects of the film that we had a hard time following along with. So please join us as we break down the movie. We got a lot to say. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's not waste any time. Let's bring in our guests, starting with our good friend, Kyle Corwith, here by popular demand. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure.
Yes, thank you for having me. And technically, I wasn't supposed to be on, but I twisted your arm.
No, it was no twisting.
This movie's pretty great. One of my favorites.
Well, something I realized was while watching the movie, I couldn't stop thinking about Van Helsing. And look at that. This is another Stephen Sommers movie, and you're a big fan of Stephen Sommers. So very appropriate. I'm excited to hear your perspective. Thanks for joining us, buddy. And then a new guest. I've been wanting to have her on for a long time. We tried to figure something out, and here we are. We got Vex Electronicon here. Good to see you, Vex. Roast beef, of course.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Real quick, this is not the movie that ladies think of when it comes to Brendan Fraser. He did a little-known version of Tarzan, George of the Jungle.
Oh, yeah, I remember
back in the 90s.
He looked pretty good in that.
Oh, yeah.
He was jacked. Yeah, I think I wouldn't call that a sleeper of his. It's weird that he's like a household name, even though he really hasn't been in that many like big movies. Yeah. You have George the Jungle, I guess. You have the Mummy movies. I knew him at a young age for Furry Vengeance, which, you guys probably don't even know what that is, do you?
That's a sleeper hit, if anything.
Yeah,
that came out in like the 2000s. Yeah.
That's what we grew up watching.
He wants to have put asleep.
You know what? I loved it, Kyle. My 8-year-old self loved it. I ate it up. That was my Brendan Fraser for the longest time. Luke, did you ever see that?
Yeah.
No, I have not. I really haven't been a big Brendan Fraser guy until tonight.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we sold you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good. Great. Awesome. At some point today, I was talking with Nadia about gifting memberships. So at some point today, I don't know when, I'm going to be dropping, I think 5 gifted memberships, doing something a little different, a little early Christmas treat. So to thank you all for joining us today. But, we might as well just get right into the material. Brendan Fraser's hit movie, The Mummy. For the longest time, I have been curious about this, and I'm excited to hear your perspective in particular, Kyle, because, I know you're a big Stephen Sommers fan. And I had so much fun talking about Van Helsing. I think when it comes to our old streams, that's what I think about more than the others. And I don't exactly know why it is. I think at the end of the day, it was just a really fun film. And it knew when to take itself seriously. It knew when to relax, to kind of embrace its quirks. And I'd say that's what this movie does very well. And I think this is almost a step up from Van Helsing, which is, saying a lot. But in case people, viewers watching aren't familiar with The Mummy, it's definitely not what I expected. I had a totally different idea of what I was going to be getting into watching this. That was not met. Perfectly fine, though. We follow Rick O'Connell. That's Brendan Fraser's character. He is a battle-hardened adventurer, and he joins forces with a brilliant librarian, Evelyn Carnahan, played by, gosh, what's that lady's name? Rachel Weisz. Yeah, Rachel Weisz. I remember her from, what have I seen her in? I know she was in Black Widow. She was in Fred Claus. That's a strange movie I know her from. I haven't seen her in too much, but I was really taken away by her character. Of course, those two, they engage in, a growing romance throughout the movie. I thought it was quite a beautiful development, very captivating. And they are on a search for the lost city of Hamunaptra, as they are kind of curious to what's going on in these ruins. Brendan Fraser's character, he had some pretty tough times in Hamunaptra earlier on in the story, in the very beginning. When we're introduced to him, he has a very near death experience, and something mystical saves him as he's the last survivor of this this chaotic breakdown that happens against this Bedouin tribe right outside of these ruins. So he's kind of left puzzled as to what is special about this place, and inevitably he gets thrown into the mix when Evelyn's character kind of wishes for him to join her expedition to find this place. And what they end up finding is that this is a really crazy environment. This is a mystical hidden valley of Egyptian ruins. And within it lies a mummified corpse of a very evil man who comes to life and wages war against all of Egypt. It's very interesting. There's a lot to talk about. I was really surprised by how much world building there was here. I mean, this is a dense movie. This is not simple ABC. And, even just in the very introduction, I think we're fed so much in this like glimpse of the past. And we're going to get to that. But before we get deeper into the movie, I always like to start the streams off with asking people how this movie had an impression of them, right? That's what I always like doing. I think it's always fun. I think movies, they always touch us at different points in time of our life. And I know both of you are very, impressed by this movie. You really wanted to talk about it. So maybe you guys could tell us about your experience, your first time watching this, and why it's made a big fan out of you all these years.
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you so much.
Such a gentleman.
This was just one of those movies that was always on when I was a kid, because I was like 8 or 9 when the first one came out. So it was always in the background. I know my mom really liked this, and I was like one of those kids that also like perpetually watched the Discovery Channel. So I was also watching like a lot of like real Egypt stuff. So that was kind of the main appeal, and it was just always a fun movie. Like there's always there's just so many scenes in here that you can just pull from memory and just like throw out as a joke. All of the cast is absolutely phenomenal, and they're all sexy on top of that. Like there's like one unattractive person in this entire cast, and it's the dude that tries to hang him and gets the beetle under his skin. That guy.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
Come on, he's sexy.
What about Benny?
Oh, okay. Two
Betty
people.
and the brother. I mean, you're talking about the brother. You think the brother's sexy?
He's got that British accent, man.
Oh,
he's got charm to him. How about that? There you go. But like, there's so many different genres. This movie melds together so perfectly, and it's nice that you mentioned Van Helsing. I'm not particularly a fan of that movie, but I can give it credit that it does do a really good job at blending horror, action, a little bit of sci-fi. There's a good amount of comedy in there as well, and you see all of that in here too. Like there's a lot of scary shit in The Mummy. Universal used to have like one of the corpse of what's his face in the coffin when they first find him underneath the statue. Universal used to have that mannequin at their park. And I remember being so terrified of that because my mom took a picture of it. I was like, we can't take the picture home. It's cursed. Please. Please
Did you actually say that too?
I was so terrified of it. Like I just didn't want it. It was like a Ouija board to me, basically. It was that kind of evil. So but no, this gets better with rewatch. I can toss this movie on and the sequel, The Mummy Returns, anytime and just be thoroughly entertained. You always find something new every rewatch.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how like I love it when a movie is able to have that much of an impact on you, where you're like concerned about your well-being after watching it, right? Like it follows you home.
Does the sequel have Brendan Fraser?
Yeah, it's all the same cast returns. I highly recommend it. It's kind of one of those instances where a sequel manages to be like on par on every metric with the first film. Yeah. But don't bother with the third film at all.
Okay. Or the fourth. Isn't there a fourth?
They're making a fourth now, but the original cast is all coming back for the fourth. So whereas it was a bit of only Brendan Fraser came back for the third one, they had to recast Rachel Weisz because of scheduling for the third.
And John Hannah, I believe that's his name, who plays the brother.
Yeah.
He came back. But that movie was so unlike the other two that I tried watching it once and I didn't even finish it.
Yeah.
I started it and I turned it off.
Wow.
Yeah, which was very surprising.
You're talking about the third one?
Yeah,
the third one. Tomb
Yeah.
of the Dragon Emperor. That was like one of the first, like, oh, let's bring back an old IP that people like. And like, I remember the critical response to it, and I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? What are you trying to do? Yeah, it's all over the place. It has none of the charm these first two movies have. The switch in setting too just doesn't work the same way. Like there's a lot more you can do with Egypt, and I wish they had just stayed there, but instead just like, oh, let's embrace China, like,
oh, that's weird.
Well, part of the reason that they did that was to pander to China audiences to get the dough.
Yeah.
So
mummies in China, those don't really
motivation
go together.
is money, then you're going to go wayward, and that's exactly what happened. So here's hoping the fourth one course corrects. The most disappointing thing to me is that they're not bringing back Stephen Sommers or hiring him on to be the writer-director. I'm very pissed off by that.
Well, that's
what are they hiring him on to be?
They're not hiring him at all.
Oh, not at all. Oh, crap.
As far as we know, they're not.
Is it all just for money?
I think he even spoke out when it was announced and said that he wasn't even contacted by Universal as like a consultant even. So yeah, that is
the reason. Mostly the reason. A lot of the aspects of why this movie is so successful and it works is because of the actors and the charm that they're bringing to these scenes. But most of the creative direction and the way that this movie plays out is because of Stephen Sommers.
Yep.
We should not downplay his creative contribution and commitment to this movie. Like his other films are precursors to what he was able to do here.
Yep.
I think his style would do well now too. I mean, it's fast paced, but it's not too much though. It's not jarring. I think everything's so fast paced nowadays. I think that's something I really enjoyed about this was that it's quick and it keeps moving, but it doesn't like just, it doesn't throw you around. It's not it's not too much. It's not overwhelming, but it's just non-stop, start to finish.
I think his last movie was Odd Thomas with Anton Yelchin.
Oh, that was a good
time
movie.
ago.
I like that movie.
Wow. What was that, like 2014?
I like it too because Anton's in it. It's another testament of when you have a really great actor in a movie, it elevates it, and we see that here in The Mummy.
Absolutely,
multiple throughout the entire cast.
Yeah, the entire cast is like top of their game here. Like they all bring their A game, which is also another rare thing to see in a film. There's always a weak spot, and you can't find it here, even in the secondary or like tertiary background characters.
Yeah.
I have 2 words for a weakness: dual wielding.
Come on, I thought that was kind of cool.
I don't know, man. Try to make that practical, bro. Try to make that practical.
Come on.
Dual wielding.
Well, I mean,
come on.
You got to make it work somehow.
I don't know.
Dude, when I was a kid, I was reenacting those scenes with pistols, spray painted black guns, water guns. Yeah. And I would spray paint them and pretend to be Brendan Fraser with the dual pistols.
There you go.
You can't do that nowadays.
Spray paint water guns? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Not gonna like what happens. Oh man. Well,
I didn't go out in public with them.
Okay.
In the backyard. Yeah, I wasn't a dumbass.
That's what I was thinking.
I did some dumb things, but I wasn't a dumbass.
So Kyle, why were you such a big fan? Was it like the first time you watched it at a young age or something like that? And it spoke to you?
Unfortunately, I didn't see this in the movie theater.
Oh man.
I would go to the movies, but not as much during the 90s. I watched a lot of films at home. It was around that time of 2000 where I became 10 years old, around there, where then I could venture out on my own to the movie theater, take my bike, even walk sometimes. And I would do that. But around this time in 99, I'm young enough where my mom doesn't want me to go out on my own. So that's probably one of the reasons why it didn't happen. But the first time I saw The Mummy was when my older siblings rented it from Blockbuster. And I saw it one night where they were talking it up and how awesome it was. And this movie thrilled me. It terrified me. It made me smile. It made me laugh. It made me dream and fantasize about,
about Rachel Weisz.
Well, in many different ways. I wanted to be Brendan Fraser and be that adventurer, be that cool and badass and masculine. And I did notice that Rachel Weisz was very attractive in this movie. She's actually probably the most attractive in this movie than she is in any other movie.
Yeah, I
Agreed.
couldn't think.
Mhm.
Yeah, she really stood out. She doesn't really look like how she does in anything else I've seen
It's
her in.
very strange. I've noticed that
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
I guess
It's
it's
the
just that
eyebrows.
ripe age or something. I don't know.
It's
Is
the
it
eyebrows and the hair. Because like if
Mhm.
you look at her movies,
I'll pull up
even
a
like
picture.
right after this, she's gotten rid of the thin eyebrows and she doesn't
Okay.
rock her natural curly hair anymore.
Mm,
Thank you for
yeah.
explaining that. Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Because well,
There
she's
you
always
go.
just been a standout for me. Like she's one of the most beautiful actresses in Hollywood, in my opinion. And I was wondering, like, why does she look so different in this versus all of her other movies? And it's the hair and the eyebrows.
Mm.
Yeah, and what about the second movie? She has straight hair in that, and she had a lot darker eyeliner and eyeshadow.
And they
Yeah.
filled in her eyebrows in that one too. She let them grow out, but they styled her hair instead. It's not her naturally curly hair in the second movie.
She looks better with this.
I can't believe
Yeah.
I'm saying this. I think throughout the whole movie, she had my attention the most. It's not because she was good looking or anything. I think
Well,
she
it's-
was.
it's part
I
of
think
that.
she's
Come
the
on.
most likable.
Yeah.
She was the most likable
honest,
character in this
Jackson.
whole movie. I
Yeah,
can't
don't-
believe it. I can't remember the last time I said that about a female character in anything. In all 38 of these movies we've been watching lately, not a single one has really stood out like this. I was really surprised.
Scream.
We'll talk about that a little later, though. Let me say
Mhm.
hi to everybody in the chat real quick. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you all greatly. And let's also give a round of applause to our friend Kyle. I love seeing how well your video's doing. I've been checking on it. And when there's haters in the chat, Kyle, I'm there for you.
Are they here?
No, they're not in here. I was talking about like comments. You know, you get angry comments about crap, you know. And Kyle is destroying the new Supergirl trailer. So check it out. It's a great little video.
They're the last comment that I responded to was a guy saying how we need to get lives and it's just a movie, and didn't comment really about the trailer at all to whatever aspect. And I just said, you're free to leave the conversation.
Right.
Why are
Get
you
a
here?
life. Keep moving.
Why are you here then?
This
Don't
is during a
comment.
live.
Huh?
Save your breath.
This is during a live.
No, this is a comment that is underneath the Supergirl
Oh,
video that I did, the Cinethesis
man.
video essay.
no, I stand with you, Kyle. Don't worry.
All right, Wilkie. Oh, he says, sorry, I can't jump in the chat tonight, but hope you have a
Ah.
great one. Good to see you, Wilkie. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you, buddy. He's going to be on with us next week, so that'll be cool. I'll tell everyone what that is later in the stream.
Oh, that next week's gonna be
Kyle
nice.
knows about that one. I
Yeah.
know it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be a weird one. It's the girliest movie we've ever talked about.
and
So it
is
should be
I won't
interesting.
spoil it, but is that the only female that's going to be on?
That's true. Yes. Yes.
Cool.
She's the only one. So she's
Cool.
gonna have a unique voice in the room. It's good. Very much welcome.
Jackson will reveal who he's talking about later.
Yes, soon. Related to Kyle in some capacity. You will all see. Yes, Proc Files here. Good seeing you, buddy. We are going early. Vex
Oh, yeah.
has to go to sleep earlier, so here we are.
I'm old,
blame
yeah.
her.
I'm in bed by 10 o'clock, 10:30 usually. So.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Oh.
Oh, Papa Pumpkin Gore King's here. It's mummin
Gore King.
time. Hell yeah. Good to see you. Oh, Megan the Texan's here. Hey, Megan.
Meg.
Oh, hint, hint, wink, wink. Cass Styles is here. Hi, Cass. Good seeing you. Let's see. We had a super chat from OTAM8566 for a 5-banger. About time you saw this classic. Any plans to cover more in the series? Also, hi, Vex.
Hi,
Oh.
Otam. Nice to see you.
OTAM. Good to see you, OTAM. You have a cute little character. Maybe I'd be down. I mean, if Vex is saying the second one's great, then I'd be absolutely willing to check out the next one. Cool. Great. Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate your support. I think we'll do that. And we'll probably watch the third one at some point, even though Kyle says it's dog, you know.
I can't confirm entirely. I just know that it didn't hold my attention enough and disappointed me to the point where I just turned it off.
No, I mean that's accurate. I wanted to commit. It's very rare that I'll stop a movie halfway through, and I committed to that. And yeah, if I didn't have that in me, I would have shut it off halfway in.
Yeah.
too.
The only reason that if I were to complete the movie would be for an instance such as a live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to get us through a lot. Yeah. Let's see. Emperor Goodwin's here. Good to see you, man. Always like seeing you. Goodwin. Awesome. Great. Who else is here? Horror with Nads. Good seeing you, Nadia. Thanks for joining us.
Nadia.
Hey, Nadia.
She's helping me out with some behind the scenes work I need help with. Cool. Awesome. Well, let's get right into the first chapter of the story here, which is pretty interesting, where we see the beginning of this tale. You know, we rewind really far back to the curse of Imhotep. Is that how I say it? Imhotep?
Yeah.
There's an
yeah.
H,
Yeah.
so it's Imhotep.
Imhotep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, man, There's so many
1290 BC.
weird ancient names here. I'm having a hard time. His girlfriend has the worst name ever. Anxunamun.
Anaxunamun.
Oh wait, is it Anaxunamun?
Anaxunamun. No, so I think a moon.
Okay,
moon at the end.
moon. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna try not to say her name a lot, but we'll see. Yeah. So we're in 1290 BC, long time ago. It's a really crazy introduction here.
Are you talking about the body paint?
Yeah, right.
Is that what made it interesting for you?
Oh,
Probably.
definitely. That was a reason, that's for sure.
Oh, you know what? You know what's a selling point for the second one is Rachel Weisz gets the body paint on in the second one.
How do you explain? Why does that happen?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh,
yeah, I was about to say something.
Spoilers. That was a close one. You almost spoiled it for me.
But I'm giving you incentive to watch the second one. So
it's not the same though.
It's still pretty good. It's still pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. But like something about this opening actually. Well, actually, I don't want to cut you off, Brawler. You wanted
well,
to,
yeah, I'll just explain it really quick and then jump in.
To
yeah. So just explaining what happens here. So the high priest Imhotep, he is, the villain of the story later on. We see him and we jump through a couple different perspectives here in the beginning, but he is secretly romancing Anxunamun, who is the pharaoh's mistress. And there is an affair that's discovered. The pharaoh is really pissed. And he's murdered by the lady, by the mistress, which I was really surprised about. I thought for whatever reason the whole time she was going to be a good guy and that she was going to be resurrected to help them uncover this mysterious mummy curse. And I was totally wrong. I don't know where I came up with that. But yeah, what happened here was she kills the pharaoh. And then, I don't know, she had some big plan to resurrect herself if Imhotep stepped in later on. And so she unalives herself. She takes a knife and she stuffs it in her belly. Once she's captured, Pharaoh's guys come in there, they rush in and they take Imhotep and they mummify him and all of his grunts that are with him. And it's surprisingly pretty brutal little scene there, getting a glimpse into what the mummification process looks like as these guys are, bandaged to a point where they can't really breathe. They're stuck in these coffins and they are, they're fed to these little serpents, or what are they called? The scarabs. Yeah. Like thousands of little scarabs are dumped in their sarcophagi.
Just for
was
Imhotep.
it just him or was it not?
It was just him because he was deserving of the worst punishment of all of them. So they killed all of his minions, but because he betrayed the pharaoh and then the pharaoh's mistress also died because of him and all of that, he got the worst of the punishment. So that's why he had the scarabs.
Which will bring a couple of questions about why they did this. We'll get to that. But even just the opening is something that we need to talk about in terms of when she's introduced, and they both kill her, by the way. It's Imhotep and Anaxunamun.
Yeah.
They both kill the pharaoh. They both take turns, basically.
Yeah, in the silhouette, you see them both using the knives on him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you see shadows. Shadows are implemented a lot in here to convey violence, and that's a smart way that Stephen Sommers.
Very different.
Yeah.
Two different brilliant directors, but
well, not these days.
Whoa.
Well,
crap.
What is this? His new trailer came out for his Alien movie, and my comment on it was, "Where is Steven Spielberg in this? There are no fantastical visuals in this new movie that he's making, as far as the trailer is concerned, right now." And that's
wait, what movie is this?
This movie called Disclosure Call.
I'm excited, bro. I'm excited.
It's with Emily Blunt, and it's an alien movie, and she makes sounds like the aliens from Signs on air while she's reading the weather report.
And this is a Spielberg movie coming up?
Yes, the trailer just dropped today.
Huh.
Yeah.
You'll have to look it up.
Anyway, tangent. But it was a nice little tangent. Stephen Sommers. Yeah, he implements shadows to hide the violence, but to show clearly what's going on. And there's body paint implemented here as well. And one thing that I noticed for the first time, because I watched it in 4K, and I hadn't before, and probably, I don't know what format you guys watched it in, but growing up, you think that she's only has body paint on, but the truth of the matter is, guys, that she actually has nipple pasties on.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I guess maybe I realized that because I was a girl
there.
at a young age, but
no, but when you watch it on DVD at standard definition, you don't notice those details. You just can't.
Do you watch most things on standard DVD?
When I first saw it.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Yeah.
First was probably VHS, dude.
I hope. Okay, I thought we were talking about like recent years.
No,
I hope you upgraded.
Well, you got to look at the totality of the experience, which is for me. I'm looking at the movie as a kid from a VHS standpoint, and then going to DVD and this slow progression of definition. And so there's that first impression that you get. There's oh yeah, so she's naked, but she has body paint on. And it's not until you get the 4K where your dreams are dashed and you realize, oh my gosh, the illusion is broken.
Hold on. If it helps unbreak that illusion a little bit, she really was naked otherwise while they were like the makeup artists were putting all of this on. She revealed that in an interview. So aside from the pasties, that's
I think they should have just committed entirely on the body paint.
What was the original point you had? I don't think this is what we were talking about first.
That would have made a rated R.
Making Brawler uncomfortable.
I'm Brawly. I'm
Brawly
Brawly when you talk
Brawly.
about these things.
Yeah, like his face is red.
I'll point out another thing though. For Imhotep, Imhotep's not wearing anything underneath that little skirt that he has for the movie.
Well, one thing I do know, because I remember the commentary that everybody did. They had actors' commentary, then they had the director's commentary. Arnold Vosloo, who plays Imhotep, he had to have his entire body shaved.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
His entire body.
Like entire
every day.
Yeah. I don't get it. Was he supposed to be like some, I don't know, like the handsome, sexy villain, or because I was not getting that from him. I guess you kind of got a little bit in the beginning, but then he immediately fell off when he was the mummy.
Brawler, I think this is a question that Vex can answer.
That's true. Vex?
Yeah, personally, I didn't find him sexy when I was growing up, but as I get older, I'm just like, that is a pretty handsome man, actually. Like, so
bald works. That's good.
Bald works, yeah.
That's encouraging to a lot of guys out there.
He still has his eyebrows.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be fair, it helps that he can rock that little skirt as well. So
ew, stop.
Yeah, like that's quill of his.
Gosh.
It's an Egyptian skirt, so it works.
I kind of wonder. So about them, Imhotep, I guess, a lot of the movie, obviously, he's interested in resurrecting her when he's back into the picture. And I kind of wondered, like, in this early time when he was with her, was he interested in just killing the pharaoh so he could be with her, or was there like a power play in the mix too? Was he interested in like ruling, taking his place, or was it mostly because he just loved her or lusted for her or whatever you want to call it in this situation?
I don't think Sommers looked that far into that plan that deeply. It's really that kind of storybook superficial events that occur that if you look further into, they kind of break apart and show holes in them. And we'll get into it where this movie actually does have a major issue in it that not a lot of people know about that is confusing, but gets away with it actually. But when it comes to that, this is Pharaoh's high priest, and he just assassinates him in the open without any lead up or conspiring smart plan.
Yeah.
No,
happens rather quick.
Yeah. Seemed very on the spot.
I would argue because they have, and it's a very slight thing, just strictly in the body language for Anck-su-namun in just this opening scene. But when the pharaoh does come in, the way she kind of like looks and reacts to him suggests that it's not quite a mutual relationship. So I agree with Kyle. It's not so much that there was a bigger plan. I think the plan was just for them to be together and get him out of the picture. There was, because he was already a high-ranking priest in this story. Imhotep was a real character, and they mix up the histories for the sake of this. But yeah, he had already kind of reached his peak, and he had all of that power to resurrect people and everything. So there was no need to really want anything more than someone to share that with.
One of the subtitles in the movie before she plunges the knife into her stomach is she tells the bodyguards of Pharaoh, his my body is no longer his temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
True.
there's a lot of hatred from her when it comes to being that, and she's clearly would have been that role would have been put upon her, it seems, maybe from social pressures or her family, whatever.
It's
or just
also
lineage.
her Anuk-Sunamun's like backstory too is revealed a little bit more in The Mummy Returns. So you get a little bit more of an understanding of why she reacted the way she did, so to speak, or what her true feelings were about the pharaoh.
Yeah, let's tease this a little bit. Let's just say they actually go back to this scene similar to the way that Back to the Future 2 revisits.
Oh, that's a
Not
good
talking
way of
about
putting
time
it.
travel. Not talking about time travel, but you see some things from a different perspective.
Okay.
That's kind of cool, actually.
That's cool. Interesting. All right. I'm down.
Mm.
You know, you guys do such a good job saying Anuk-Sunamun or whatever. Like
You said it right.
it just rolls
said it
off the
correctly.
tongue. Oh, I said it. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
listening to you guys enough. It's helping.
To be
That's
fair, we've probably been watching this movie for 20 years longer than you have, so that helps.
I've
That's as long
probably
as I've
seen
been
this film.
alive.
I was asked how many times I've seen this film, and I thought about it. It may be between 50 to 100 times.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well over
Dang.
100 times for me.
Mhm.
Well over 100 times. Yeah.
Wow. Dang. All right. Sweet. Great. All right. Well, if you have any like interesting questions to pose too, please do. Because you know, I might miss some things. I mean, it's such a dense movie. It's hard to like think of everything that happens. It's really, I was really surprised by that. I did not think it would be this deep. I thought it'd be way more surface level. But you know, Van Helsing, it was a pretty deep movie too, even though Vex wasn't the biggest fan.
It's, you know what it is? when I think of those like specific monsters, I don't like them in like these comedy action mashups. I like all those monsters on their own. So I can appreciate what Van Helsing did. It's just not my cup of tea, even though Kate Beckinsale is a fucking smoke show in that movie.
Oh yeah.
She was all right. She was all right.
What the hell is the matter with you?
I preferred her in Click. Okay, have you seen Click?
What?
Dude.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. Proctophile's talking to us, people. $2. All right, okay, he's helping me out here. Brawler, Anuk-Sunamun. Oh, there we go. I like that. It's not hard. Very good. Anuk-Sunamun.
When you're not around her.
Yeah. Nice.
It took him a second.
Yeah. All right, here, let's move on to the next part of this. So, of course, yeah, we get here. We're not at this time period very long. We fast forward 633 years to 1923, which that was another surprise to me. I didn't realize. I thought we were in modern time with this movie, but nope.
I think you've mixed up here. It's more years than that. It's a few thousand because we went to BC to 80.
Oh, okay. Dang it. See, my math didn't turn out again. Gen Z fools, they call us.
I love this stream right now so much. We're all fucking up except for Vex. Like, I fucked up in things that I've said. I thought Stephen Sommers was Spielberg. You're right. You can't get
years doesn't make any sense. You're right.
You can't tell the difference. You're getting confused by BC and AD.
Oh,
which I can understand because they've messed up the what are they calling it? They're not saying AD. They're saying or no.
They have like some other vernacular for it.
Yeah.
Now it's
BCA. They're saying BCA, right?
I don't know.
BCE. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Whatever that stands for anymore.
Before Common Era and then Common Era.
Yeah.
They're trying to erase Christ from the terminology.
Mm-hmm.
Boo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Boo, Kyle. Boo.
Exactly. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. I love that. I love that Brawler thinks the pyramids and pharaohs were a few hundred.
Only 600 years ago, people. Okay. I know it wasn't that. I know I'm better than that. Okay. It just slipped way farther. Okay. We fast forward way farther than that.
About the live stream, dude. We're gonna have a lot of slips. We've already set this up, and then we're gonna pay it off with even worse moments.
Or we'll get better. We'll see. Yeah, but whatever it is, we're at 1923, common era, common enough, World War I-ish time. And we're back here at this sacred destination, housing the invaluable Egyptian artifacts and the tomb of Imhotep. And Rick O'Connell, this is his introduction, Brendan Fraser's character. He is a soldier in the French Foreign Legion at this point. and his entire platoon dies here at this location by the hands of a ruthless Bedouin tribe, which we've become quite familiar with about midway to the ending of the film, which has a pretty interesting twist in there I didn't see coming. But, you know, he nearly dies himself. I mean, his whole platoon just gets wiped out cold.
Yeah, he calls him his garrison. Yeah.
Garrison. Okay, yeah, his garrison wiped out cold. There was a lot of guys. I'd say a platoon's a lot smaller, right? Garrison's probably a larger.
Yeah, he has a lot more than a platoon, at least based off of one of our last films that we.
That's right, which was Platoon. But yeah, Garrison, call it that. Yeah, but he nearly dies himself. I mean, he's cornered back up against the wall. Well, he's back up against like some old ancient Egyptian monument, and he's saved by this mysterious force that lurks, and it scares the piss out of the Bedouin tribes as they just rush away from him. He really doesn't know what to happen there. And this was a point where I realized that we were in for a treat. I didn't know what I was getting myself into watching this, but this action sequence really impressed me. You know, one of my favorite movies of all time is Lawrence of Arabia. And, you know, maybe it's just like seeing a bunch of guys riding, you know, horses or camels rushing towards, you know, enemies, you know, carrying rifles, firing in the desert. But to me, man, it hit. I loved it. I thought it was great.
You were like, what? It was like seeing Lawrence of Arabia on steroids. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Then you got Brendan Fraser dual wielding. It's like, okay, what's happening here? This is not Lawrence of Arabia. This is not the same time. But I thought it was interesting. A really interesting entrance to Brendan Fraser's character. And also like the mystical presence, because leading up to this, it didn't seem like there was that much of a supernatural element to the movie. This is when it kind of hits you when you see, you know, that strange face appear out of the sand and all the Bedouin people racing away from it. So I'm kind of wondering, what about this sequence seemed captivating to you guys, especially Brendan Fraser's introduction, because it was unique. I mean, here we are. He stands out alone. I think I don't know what it is. He just has this sort of gravitas just right from the beginning. It might be just because he looks totally different than everybody else, but he really stood out to me. So I'm kind of curious what you guys thought about it.
Just pure masculinity.
Hell yeah.
Good. So it you know, you can't live up. I mean, a lot of people can't live up to that this day and age when it comes to all these actors out here. Like, you know, Chalamet.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm not even going to go there. But
can you imagine that twink in this movie as O'Connell?
It's called Dune.
There you go. It's like this is essentially a comparison right there. You got a desert movie where Chalamet is the lead in Dune, and you know, back here in '99 we had the leading man of this quality, Brendan Fraser. Look at the comparison there. It's and they're insane. Probably he may have been a little bit older than 30, but around the same age, because let's not forget that Chalamet is about 29, 30 when he still looks like his balls haven't even dropped.
To be fair, in Timothy Chalamet's defense, I mean, Paul Atreides is like 15 years old, so
that's true. Fair enough.
Okay, so I'm sure you know, because you grew up around the same time that I did, it sounds.
Yeah.
You know that there were 15-year-olds that looked a lot older than they did. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. They had a lot more testosterone flowing through their veins than Chalamet
the Soylent and vaping has really done its damage on this current era of male actor.
Breathe air. No,
try air.
Yeah, I know, but anyway, he's so courageous. Like, there's not a moment in this movie where he's not confronting, you know, somebody by grabbing their shirt and throwing them up in the air and just throwing people off of boats and everything. This he's so badass in so many levels. That's like one word I'd label him as a badass. Very good.
Just like on these two opening scenes alone, and like this is like one of the biggest strengths is you're talking about how deep, I would say dense is a better word because there's so much that they cover in this movie, but you establish so much we're not even 5 minutes into the film, I think, by the time Brendan Fraser gets captured by it's not the Magi, it's the other group or whatever, right?
Oh, so they were two different groups.
They are two different groups.
Okay.
Yeah. The Magi all are exclusively wearing the black and they have the tattoos, and they don't aim to get involved with violence. So you'll notice like they consistently are holding back unless absolutely necessary. You get to see them go ham though in the sequel, which is pretty cool. But
that's cool.
yeah, no, there's just a lot is laid down. So with that small interaction with Benny, the way that Rick O'Connell is able to command the scene and stand out so well is because he's first of all, he's the leader, but also he's got his priorities right. So he's not necessarily there to find a treasure or like on the complete whim of another person, but he's just there because he's kind of got nothing else to do. And this is almost like his sole purpose is to just be a warrior. So his motivation is set out pretty early on that he is very different from every other man that's in this region that's just looking for gold. This takes place during that peak era where Egyptologists were starting to find more pharaohs and more gold, and there was this huge surge in interest in that general field. So a lot of heavy lifting is done with so few, and it's such a rare thing to see in movies these days.
Well, like Kyle, earlier you were describing, Brendan Fraser's character, as someone you looked up to at a young age. And I can see that. And I think this movie highlights a lot of the wonders that young men have, the adventure. We all like horror to some extent. We all like a hero that, gets the girl, but he's also like, he's confident and he respects himself. It's like, gosh, all these terms, it's like, who's the last guy to have all of these elements to his character as a leading man in a movie that's straight, and especially a white dude? Let me think about that. None are coming to mind. I don't have any, especially a bigger guy like this too. So
Steve Rogers, maybe in the Captain America movies, is one I can think of.
I agree. Yes. That's a good example.
Of course you do, Luke.
Come on, Jackson. You were
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
You.
That's true. Well, come on, that was a long time ago. Okay, we're past that. 5 years. 5 years is a long time to be vacant of that. That's a whole generation of people that have just been introduced to the theaters.
John Cena.
That could use somebody. And that's why they're going, hell, you're not wrong. I mean, that's why they're going to WWE and UFC and boxing, because those avenues fill those roles. That's what it did for me. And I don't see anybody really inspired by our modern talent of masculine dudes that are leading men. Reacher, okay, but young people should not be watching that. That's for sure.
Yes.
But I loved his character right from the get-go. Even though I thought it was like the dual wielding really, like, I get it, it's fun, and that's like the silly part of the whole thing. But that's the one choice that Sommers made that kind of took me out of it, because it's just like he's a soldier in the French Legion Army. It's like, shouldn't these guys know better? And then later on, we get an entanglement with the other Americans, and everybody's dual wielding. It's like, was this actually popular at some point where this was a practical choice?
It's lethal.
I would argue that like this is probably one of Stephen Sommers' weaknesses, is that he doesn't strive for authenticity, but because he does such a good job carrying everything else, it doesn't matter. Like, they mess up so much about just like ancient Egyptian life and the names and even the dates for certain things. But these characters are so compelling that you can look past all of it. Right. So, and it's the same thing. Like, the issues are there with The Mummy Returns as well, but it's so well paced and so goddamn fun that you don't care. You just don't care. So I can live through silly things like this in a film if there's something else carrying it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it makes up for it. I don't care that much, but it's just a little thing I noticed. I also,
you keep bringing it up, so I think you care that much.
You brought it like
it
3
stands
times,
out,
dude.
man. But I like it's not like it's not detestable to me. It's just noticeable. It's a noticeable feature, and it's fun. Okay, it's
If you're
like
that
using
much of a
toy
stickler,
guns.
there are a lot of things that you can nitpick in this movie, but the magic of this movie is that you look past them, and this is a testament to great filmmaking. When there are problems with the movie, they don't matter anymore, and the great filmmaking supersedes all of the flaws, and this movie has done that and does do that.
Yeah.
In Roger Ebert's like original review of this movie, I think he gave it like 2 out of 4 stars, and he's just like, there's so many issues with this movie, but the characters are so lovable, and the movie is so like well paced and has so much action that you don't care about it. You're still rooting for the characters at the end of the day. So even someone like Ebert was able to point out and be like, this is not a great movie if you're into like hardcore filmmaking, but it's fun as fuck.
That's what it's about at the end of the day. I mean, I do not care that much. It's just something I notice. We're talking, we're hyper analyzing these things. Okay. So I'm just pointing out little things, but, moving on real quick. I want to say hi to Leon. Thank you, Leon, and your people for joining us. Pleasure having you all. I actually think I'm going to drop the memberships real quick since everybody just came in. So let me try this. Excuse me if I can't get this right. I've never done this before. I'm sending 5 memberships. I'm going to send 5 right now. Let's see what happens. I've never done this before. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, okay. There's some worthy, wow, okay. Oh, Plot Strikes Back is here. Good seeing you, man. All right. It looks like who won all of them. Does it say on here? Okay, good.
Does it just do that randomly?
Yeah, it just randomly does it. So Bruce Montgomery, 2789. Congratulations, you got one. Megan the Texan got one. Thanks, Megan. Boaca, good friend Boaca. Glad you got to be a member, man. Miss Sparkles, another common face here. Good seeing you, Miss Sparkles. And Plot Strikes Back, Nick. You're also a member. So enjoy. Check out my videos. I add some pretty fun stuff on there, and I like adding the Blu-ray and 4K hauls. So check those out. Appreciate you guys. But let's move on to the next segment of this. This is when I think I was really surprised by this character, and I'm excited to talk about her because I really, she's interesting. Her character's interesting. I guess we do another time jump here. I didn't really realize that. They didn't make it very clear that we're jumping a little further in time. I guess you kind of see it when, Brendan Fraser's in prison, which you're kind of wondering, like, how do you get there exactly? But this is 3 years later, according to my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where we meet the exceptional love interest, Rachel Weisz's character, Evelyn. And she is determined to find the Hamunaptra and unlock the mysteries with this special scarab key that her brother found. And yeah, they're pretty driven. They're adventurous. They're interested in history, and they are pretty, intuitive. They figure out, they find the right man for the mission to lead this, which is, of course, Brendan Fraser's character. And he's on death's door. He's about to be executed. And of course, I thought this was like, this kind of stuck out to me. Once she introduces herself to him, he just kisses her. I'm like, whoa, crap, that came out of nowhere. Yeah, I can't do that nowadays, but that really stood out to me. I'm like, okay, man, this guy, he's got nothing left to lose, I guess. And he really didn't, because he was set to be hung. And Rachel Weisz's character, this is where we get a glimpse into her compassion. She really sold him on how special of a man Brendan Fraser's character is. He did not deserve to be put to death like that, and that there was, great promise in what his knowledge has that could affect that man as well, which he's like some nameless guy that, is only interested in the money. And once he learns that Brendan Fraser has the key to unveiling the treasures of Hamunaptra, he frees him right before he dies. I mean, he's being hung. He's got, very little breath left in his body, and he cuts him down finally. And from that moment on, they go on the adventure to the hidden city. And I guess, would you call it a hidden city? What would you call that space?
Sure, it was like hidden.
It's a hidden city.
It's revealed by the sunrise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is like a city. It's big.
It is a city. It's an actual city. Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was interesting because most of the time we spend in like tombs, underground. But I remember like when it's revealed, it's like a big space with it looks like there's a lot going on, but I feel like it's not that expansive when you're there, unless that's where we see them just kind of wandering outside with all of the locals. Is that the same area, or is those two different places?
Wait, what do you mean exploring with the locals?
Well, I'm talking about later in the movie when we're kind of jumping a little bit, but when
those the two teams, so we got Brendan Fraser's group, and then they meet up with the Americans.
Yeah,
and
that's
Benny,
right. Yeah.
They race to Hamunaptra. Yeah, it's a small looking city on the outside up top, but underneath is where all the tombs and the halls are.
Okay, so that's just that space. That's Hamunaptra. I was thinking of later in the movie.
I don't know why you're pronouncing it Hamunaptra.
Hamunaptra. Okay,
there are no bunnies there, dude.
Just a hop and a skip away.
It's been such a long day. I'm
So
trying.
just think of like homonym. Hamunaptra.
Hamunaptra.
Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
He's never going to invite me back.
I get confused. You'll be damned for this, Kyle. I get confused because it looks like this big space, and for a second I thought that maybe like later in the movie when they're in that large city and there's all the people that have been kind of like mind controlled by the main villain. I was wondering if that was the same space, but
It
those
is
are
the
two
same
different
space.
places.
Yeah,
Okay, that is the same space.
So the city that we see in the very opening with Imhotep and Anuk-Cinnamon, it's the same city at the end of the film where all the treasure is and everything. It's just the way the set is constructed, right? You don't need to see the whole city to get what they're going after. But
you had a wide shot of them pulling into it with their chariots at night. Okay. It's all nice looking. It's not, thousands of years old and crumbling. It just looks a little different. But you have a chyron that says it's Hamunaptra.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know.
This is interesting because I've never talked to somebody who's new to the film. So this is.
I think
it's strange. This is like a movie that everyone has watched.
Yeah.
Oh, we're so far behind. Here we are.
That's
The Mummy. There's like, I hate to say it, but gosh, people hang me for this, but I mean, culturally for young people, it's totally irrelevant. And I know nobody cares what young people have to say, and I don't blame them for that. But it's definitely, I'd say, irrelevant for a lot of people our age. And I'm glad we're talking about it. I think it's something that I certainly have recognized it for the longest time. And Tom Cruise, his new movie really brought us back into the picture. Oh, you got to check out the old one. I don't remember the new one being good at all. I'd have to rewatch it to
no,
see.
You don't.
Yeah, see, exactly. I'm not going to watch that. But, we're talking about Rachel Weisz's character. I have a million reasons why I thought she was kind of captivating from the beginning. I guess if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind just talking about it right off the bat. I think something, we always have flaws with, modern day female characters in a lot of titles. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And there's some great ones too. I think, the new Fallout TV series, or the next season, it's airing tonight. Heck, right now. That's
didn't they just all of a sudden say, oh wait, we're not waiting a few more weeks. We're going to do it this week. I think originally they were going to do it further into December.
I didn't like that. I wanted to wait a little longer, please. Like, build the anticipation. I don't have time right now.
We're in a weird time in pop culture where all of a sudden a movie, if it's coming in theaters, that's not going to happen. Where all of a sudden it's announced, oh wait, it's instead of at the end of December, it's coming out December 2nd. Like that doesn't happen, and we're witnessing a time in pop culture where something just comes out weeks prior because of streaming. That's the only reason that it's able to do that.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get that. But I only bring that up to say that Ella Purnell's character in that is awesome. She's one of my favorite new female characters. Really, a lot of great traits. And Evelyn here has so many. And I've really never cared much for this actress, Rachel Weisz. I haven't seen her in much. That's probably the reason. I think I need to explore maybe her catalog a little better. But, I think something that kind of charmed me to her character right off the bat was obviously she's, a beautiful actress, whatever else, but she has such a humble entrance here. And you think that she's going to be like ditzy, clumsy, kind of foolish, because, she has a terrible, humbling moment where, she's in the library of all these, important books, and she stumbles a little bit on the ladder, and then all the bookcases collapse around her. I mean,
it's her fault.
Horrifying.
It's her fault. She's trying to put a book back on the other shelf behind her, and she's leaning over irresponsibly, and she's a librarian, but she starts doing a balancing act with this 12-foot tall ladder, and
impressive.
It's such a great moment. It's great writing. It's a great introduction for her character, and her balance goes off, and she falls against one of the bookshelves, and eventually a domino effect occurs inside this room where all these shelves are they're in a circled row where you see in one shot, and they did shoot this in one shot.
Wow.
One take in real, it's real effect. And they're all doing domino effects and falling onto each other. And they had a stunt man on that ladder. So in the wide shot, you're actually seeing a stunt man. So when in that, it was a dude.
Nice.
So the person that falls against it in that wide shot is a dude, and the camera rotates around as we see the bookshelves fall, and they had Rachel Weisz come in at the very end, and that's her. Like,
This was
it's
one
all-
shot too,
that's
if I
one
remember
shot.
correctly.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
they didn't do another take on it because the setup was so it's kind of a pain.
Complex, yeah.
But you know, I think this scene just does a great job establishing her as like she's not perfect. She's, you know, this is kind of a humbling moment. And I think throughout the whole movie, she's a humble character. I just love humble characters. Everybody loves the humble lead, right? Guy, girl, whatever, it doesn't matter. And I thought that was so refreshing to see right from the beginning. And, you know, she's humble and she makes like this stupid mistake and she makes another crucial mistake later. But she's also a smart cookie, you know, and she's more intelligent than these silly little choices she makes. But she doesn't use her intelligence or, you know, her beauty, whatever else, to put her above other people. I think that's something to definitely note. And I appreciated that she was just kind of, you know, at the same level. She didn't disrespect Brendan Fraser's character. You know, she respected who he was and his agency because, you know, obviously he's the explorer, he's the adventurer. You know, he's been in combat many times. She respects the experience he has. I mean,
it took her a while to get there, though. Hold on, because she doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't respect him until after the boat scene happens, and he kind of rescues her and takes care. Because, like, up until then, she's kind of dubious. Because first, she's introduced to basically this dude who looks like a caveman, right? Then he's a bit cocky when she encounters him as they're boarding the boat. And then
she calls him a complete scoundrel and she doesn't like him.
Right. And then when they're on the boat and he like has his toolkit, his weapons kit or whatever, she's very confused as to what like he's doing here and why he's bringing all this. And she's like she's very hesitant to like believe that she even trusted this guy in the first place to take her to this fabled city that she'd read about since she was a young girl. So it's only until the attack on the boat scene that she finally recognized, like, oh, this is a competent person. I can trust him with my life, and he's not just trying to con me. Also, she's not really like humble. She's a ditz. She's very periodically a ditz throughout this entire movie. Well, but it's in a charming way. It's in a charming way.
This is the thing. This is the distinction about her character is that she knows about Egypt. She has knowledge about history. She's very confident when it comes to that. But the things that she doesn't know about, she doesn't hide that, which is pretty great. She's not arrogant about things that she doesn't understand. She doesn't know how to fight. She doesn't know about traveling and going about to Hamunaptra. That's why you have Brendan Fraser, who has been experienced in doing this. That's why they bring him on to be their guide.
And that's why the romance works so well, is because they really are a yin and a yang. So where she has all the brains, he's all the brawn, but they're both equally kind of not cunning, but like they're smart enough to adapt and quickly catch on to the way things are. And you see that evolve even better in the sequel, where they've really found their rhythm with each other, because the romance is kind of put to the side for most of this movie. But yeah, no, she's a competent character where she is, and I like that she's a little bit ditzy and clumsy and girlish. It actually adds a lot of charm to her and the movie. I think that makes her a better female character. I see her kind of as a better version of Marion from Indiana Jones, because I didn't give a fuck about Marion. I didn't like her at all.
Mary's good in it, but yeah, she's in this. Yeah, Rachel Weisz is better.
Yeah, like this is the improved version of the character, in my opinion, and it's so much better. It works so well with all of the things that Stephen Sommers has going on too, in terms of the history of this old city, the action sequences that are constantly plaguing this little group, all the horror behind what's happening and what they discover. Like she brings some very nice balance to the scene that normally wouldn't work.
Wow. I think it's like, you know, the ship, you're talking about the ship scene. I mean, that happened pretty quickly though, after they were introduced, didn't it?
The boat scene, that happens. I think like 20 or 30 minutes into the movie. Yeah,
was that far? Okay, all right.
Well, and also, and right there, when just before they get on the ship, after she calls him a scoundrel, he shows up all clean shaven, well kempt, and well dressed, and he says, "Anyone I know?" She turns around, and her demeanor completely changes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. We're talking about ditzy and all these like, stupid, clumsy, trying to figure out who's what. The Americans. I'm kind of curious to know what you guys thought about their portrayal of this because I think like right off the bat, they seem like, they kind of rubbed me in a way thinking that they were just kind of a bunch of stupid, grunts that were just out for the money. But I think, as we get to know them, they're not that shallow. And, some of them have, better ideas as to what's going on than others. But did you guys get the impression that these guys were supposed to be kind of a flat group of guys that are just out for the money, or if they actually, understood what was going on here?
The guy on the very left, he
Benny. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, I hated him.
Everyone
awesome.
loves Benny.
He's awesome.
Is Kyle
The
Benny?
relationship between Benny and O'Connell is so their chemistry is just one of the best frenemy relationships on screen that I've seen.
He's a coward. I don't know. I just didn't like his coward.
No, but they like each other, dude.
Right.
They were friends at one point, and he turned out to be, a backstabbing jackass. But you can tell that the chemistry they have and the comedy that comes from it when the first scene where he grabs him on the boat.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
he threatens him with a gun, and he said, "Think of my children." You don't have any children.
I might.
I will. Yeah, I might.
Someday I
I was
might.
like, get out of here.
I love when he pulls out all the necklaces when Imhotep finds him and he starts praying in the different languages.
Yeah.
And then the Jewish works or whatever.
Right.
Whatever
Ah,
language.
the language of the slaves.
That was funny. He tried everything, it didn't work.
But
Benny.
the other guy on the red, I like that actor a lot. So
Who are you talking about?
The guy on the very right with the other red hat.
Oh, with the cap.
Yeah, I like that actor. So
Is that the guy that was? No,
Rich,
that's not the
Jumanji.
same dude that was the boss of Evelyn's character, right? That was
Different
Okay.
actor. Yeah.
A different old balding guy. Okay.
I don't think he was balding. He just
Was he not?
I mean, he's got a receding hairline, but I've seen
Okay.
him in movies with hair. He was in Titanic. Luke
Yeah.
just said he was in Jumanji.
Yeah, Titanic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jumanji,
I just
Richie
watched
Rich.
Jumanji. I don't remember him in that.
He's the dad.
And he's the shooter. And he's the hunter.
Okay.
And he's the hunter.
Okay.
dual-
Okay.
dual
That's
roles,
it.
yeah.
Duh. All right. Well, that's pretty. Okay. That's a memorable one. Yeah. I didn't care much. I was surprised by how so many of these characters got cut off like one by one. I mean, none of these guys survive by the end of the movie. I respect the movie when it does that. I wouldn't exactly call them cannon fodder because, we spend a lot of time with these guys and, you feel a little bit for them when they die. Because each one of them, they kind of have their moment before they're dead, and it makes you feel a little sympathetic towards them. But especially the poor guy in the glasses, what happens to him? Which is soon after this introduction scene where they're all on the boat. These are the Americans that are trying to, of course, compete with our main group of heroes to get to the hidden city. To get the treasure. Obviously they want the money, they want the treasure. And this movie does not reward people who are there for greed, that's for sure. People that are greedy and are interested in the gold, they do not get what they want. Especially, the victors of this whole story were there for pure curiosity more than anything else, and they're the ones that survived. I don't think a single person that was dedicated to grabbing some gold made it out of this story alive.
Nope.
Benny certainly didn't. But
we'll have to see when 4 comes out.
Okay. See, all right. Wow. So he's just in the tomb forever.
They're theories. I do have a
Okay.
theory.
Wait, yeah, he is coming back. They just announced that, didn't
That's
they?
weird.
I can just say it right now. I think that he's going to come back as a mummy / maybe the Scarab King. That's my theory.
The Scarab King.
I mean, that's a good idea. How would he have become king of those things?
Well, dude, he was just in league with the mummy, so he may have a trick up his sleeve that we'll see in the 4th film that happened in the dark before we actually saw him. We didn't see him die. We only heard him screaming. That's it. And then we leave.
Listen, he pulled out a scarab necklace and started talking in scarab, and he got them all under his power. There you go.
I think he had a trick up his sleeve. I mean, he has to, obviously, with him coming back.
Or he's a mummy, dead,
He has to be.
Could be both.
Yeah.
Could be both. He would have to implement something at that point.
Yeah, to survive.
Yeah, or someone else resurrected him. But then the question is, why would somebody resurrect him? He's not that important of a character. He's always in
resurrect
things.
Benny.
Right, exactly. He would have to have something that would be in his best interest. Someone else wouldn't have done that unless, I don't know, maybe O'Connell thought, maybe I'll resurrect Benny. See what he knows. Maybe he knows something. He needs some information from us. Something like that. Actually, funnily enough, it was really cool years ago when I was working on a TV show. I worked with this actor on set.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Yeah. It's one of the great things when you're on a TV show, you have a bunch of guest stars and people that come in and circulate out. You get to encounter them and work with them. Yeah. So
that's cool.
Kevin J. O'Connor, that's the actor's name.
Nice.
Did you talk to him?
When you're working on a set, you don't have time to do that because everyone's in the middle of doing something. It was very brief. It was just, hey,
did your shoulders touch at all?
No, because I wasn't standing in for him. That was my job. I was one of the core stand-ins. I stood in for Oliver Platt at one point. I stood in for the what's his name from Shawshank Redemption, the asshole guard, that actor.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't know.
Wait,
Clancy Brown. He was in The Penguin.
Oh, Clancy Brown. I like him.
I stood in for
good.
All these are tall actors, so that's why I got to stand in for these guys.
How tall are you?
6'2".
Oh crap! Yeah, that's pretty big.
Did you say Oliver Platt, the chubby dude?
Yeah, from Lake Placid, Bicentennial Man. Yeah, the guy that we a bunch of movies we saw growing up. Yeah.
Well, you're clearly not chubby. How are you standing in?
They just needed somebody with the same height.
Gotcha.
They were doing a diner scene for Chicago Med at one point because they would do crossover episodes. That was the show I used to work on, like the Chicago shows.
Nice.
And that's where I used to live in Illinois. But we were doing a diner scene, and they prefer to have someone that is of a likeness, but it's hard for them to find someone who's of the same build and facial characteristics. So they get the main thing they need, which is the height.
Gotcha.
So that when they're sitting down, oh, there's light and it's hitting the person in that spot in the head and yada yada. That's what they need mostly.
Man, people in the chat are saying these guys are tall as hell. Clancy is 6'4". That's crazy.
Yeah, they couldn't find anyone who was Caucasian that was 6'4". We had one guy who was black who was on the cast who was also black who was around that, but the complexion is obviously different. I'm saying the obvious things. But yeah, I was the closest to height. That's how they were I was able to be on the same set. Now, Clancy Brown, I actually got to, he was a gentleman. Clancy was utterly, one night it's freezing in Chicago and he was standing outside in between shots and he's like, "Hey Kyle, come on over here."
Oh,
nice. He was such a gentleman. The opposite of the asshole that he is on screen in his usual roles. So
man, he does good voice work too. I've respected him for a long time. That's sweet. Yeah, and he's like one of those guys. Oh well, duh. He's Mr. Krabs, and he's Savage Opress from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Yeah, those are weird titles, but yeah, that's how I know him the best. And he's also in John Wick, the last John Wick.
And to go full circle, Kevin J. O'Connor, who is all the way to the left, plays Benny. He was one of the actors on set. He's a very skinny dude, by the way, and he was very skinny on set.
Oh, good perceptive. Nice. So I mean, moving on, we once the gang reaches Hamunaptra, the Americans get there pretty much the same time as the heroes do. They made it there, and the Medjai eventually get involved, which I think
the Magi is kind of there. You go.
The Magi.
I'm not the only one doing pronunciation.
Did I ever just mispronounce something? Jeez. The Magi get involved. The Bedouin tribe. I just have to be so general with these people because I don't know how to say these names. All fancy names.
Brawler. Is there right and wrong?
That is true. There is. Yeah, I'm learning. Yes, but the Bedouin tribe gets involved, and
the Magi.
Yes, the Magi gets involved, and they are killing a bunch of people. I mean, it's revealed soon after that these guys are actually, they're good, but it would have been nice if they would have spoken up first, if they would have just had a talk before they started shooting everybody up here. Because, we had an earlier sequence where a bunch of the French guys got shot up by them. And then here we are again. The Magi are firing. They kill off a bunch of these Americans. And they're doing this all for a reason. They're doing it to protect the world, what's from down there in the tombs. And I don't blame them for it, because obviously the mummy gets resurrected and it unleashes hell. They did, unfortunately, they didn't do their job all the way right. But it would have been nice if maybe they explained some things a little better earlier on when they got involved. But nevertheless, they came in here guns a-blazing and they shot up the place. They killed a lot of Americans. And I think at this point in the story, I kind of wondered what we were supposed to think about both of these groups, because we're supposed to think that, are these Americans villains in the story? Were the Bedouin tribe, were they supposed to be the villains? Obviously, we learn here that they were not villains, that they were not evil, but they're definitely more like anti-heroes. And it sounds like we get to see more of them in the next one. And towards the end of this movie, of course, they don't they turn good, but we're not led to believe that in the beginning. Would you guys consider the Americans to be sort of the villains of the story outside of the mummy, or were they more so just kind of driven by their greed more than anything else?
Oh, driven by the greed for sure. They weren't too harmful to the main characters. They were just like the side, side villains.
I think you're overthinking the role of the Americans in this entire film, Bob. If anything. Like it's just they're just kind of there to represent like the greed that is kind of afoot in this region. And we see that that's something that consistently comes up in all of the mummy movies, is that all the people looking for these ancient cities or tombs or whatever, they're just in it for the fame or the wealth. So that this is just another example, because the main characters that we see, they're kind of driven by something a little more pure and just, right? So like there's just like this kind of like sense of adventure and to just like find something that was lost to history for kind of Evie and Rick. And even if you look at Imhotep, like even though he is the villain for this movie, he ultimately does all of it for love. So he's kind of like he's not a complete villain because his intentions are pure, but the way he goes around it is at the sacrifice of everyone else. So the Americans are just kind of here to represent greed. Even there's like the other team of sand people or whatever. They're also just kind of here for greed as well, to try and dig it up. And then ultimately all these characters just get to be used to show like the power that Imhotep has, first of all, and then also kind of meld in the horror aspects nicely into the action narrative.
Can we acknowledge Papa Pumpkin's comment?
What does he say? What, the Americans aren't very different?
No way.
The last one.
This one?
That's another one. He's got a pun there.
The
mission of the Magi. Mum's the word.
Pretty much, yeah.
No, the last one. The last
wait,
one that he said.
What, this?
That one.
Imhotep rafted for love. Yeah, he's always good with the puns. I don't know where he gets this from. It's a gift. I guess I only asked because, but based off first reaction, for whatever reason, they really stood out to me that way. I think it's because there's so much like reverence from the other side, like Brendan Fraser's group. There's a lot of reverence for a lot of the artifacts. And these guys are obviously, I mean, come on. They have a group of diggers with a D that dig. And
you just had to.
No one was thinking
No one was thinking it.
Diggers.
The only thing I thought you were going to do is clarify something. I didn't actually, because I know you and you've done these things before.
Well, they have these people, and they're there as cannon fodder for difficult missions. I mean, they just throw them into that one situation where obviously it was life or death, and they're pawing at some sarcophagus or something like that, some ancient relic. And of course, they all are susceptible to whatever gases or oils that spit out and burn their faces. I mean, that wasn't very nice. And then a lot of the time,
acid.
and I mean, all these guys are punished for their greed, and clearly, greed's not a good thing. But I don't know. I think it kind of stood out to me in that way. That's why I kind of pondered a little more. But I liked hearing your perspective, Vex, because you guys have watched it so many times over. But yeah. So next up, I think we have. Let's see. what we got next here. So we're moving on into the Book of the Dead, of course. Yeah. So moving on, the Book of the Dead. This is when the mummy comes to life. This is a big moment.
Look at that thing.
Yeah. This is unfortunately Rachel Weisz's character's biggest flaw is the Americans. They actually, they did something right. They were able to find the Book of the Dead. And obviously it's worth a lot of money. They brought it out, and they had the wisdom not to open it up. They didn't want to open it up. They knew that, or at least they were interested in opening it, but I think they were skeptical.
The guy in the red hat was like, he saw
skeptical.
he saw the inscription. Is like, guys, you're all gonna die if you open this. Please don't open this, right?
Yeah, and the Americans are understanding of that as well, because he reads the inscription on that box, and they all say while he's reading it, well, let's make sure we don't wake up anybody from the dead, all right? Like, they're aware of it. Let's be honest. It was Evelyn who fucked up the whole situation, because she's the one who read it, and I get why she did. Some people might say, why the hell did she have to read it out loud? It's because she likes doing that. She's a librarian. That's what she does. So it makes sense for her character to do that. Again, goes back to Sommers being a good writer. If she wasn't a librarian and she was just, I come from like a rich family and I just want to go on an adventure. It's very, very stereotypical and standard and unimaginative.
Yeah.
She's a librarian. She reads things out. That's what she does. It makes sense.
Well, obviously, it was a big mistake in the end. She didn't know the gravity, of course. And I'm glad you said that, because I think to a blind eye, it's like, oh, come on, why did you do that? Like, this is a ditzy move. You should have known better. I mean, it's called the Book of the Dead. Maybe she didn't know that it was the Book of the Dead, but I don't remember recalling if she was aware of that. Obviously, it was an ancient book. But she reads it, and then, of course, he comes to life, and he looks disgusting right off the bat. And, he's got that classic, like, 90s, like, CGI look to him. But, it looked pretty good. It was good enough. I think it kind of like that 90s CGI. It's kind of charming in a way where, you're just, you're watching a film that has quality. I don't need great effects all the time. This was good enough for me. And, it harkens back to a time when, the 90s had so many great movies, and everything just has to be so crystal clear nowadays. And obviously they're trying so hard now that they're not even really trying that hard. These poor guys, the rush jobs left and right. But yeah, once he comes back to life, he's vulnerable. He's not weak necessarily. It's just, he needs to grow in power here. There's only so much he can do in this position. And this is when sort of the horror elements of the movie really unlock. I mean, this is a big moment here when he's resurrected. And I especially was kind of drawn by the scene where he is trying to lure one of those Americans in, the guy with the glasses. And, you get a whole Jeepers Creepers sort of situation here where, he needs his eyes to see, he needs his tongue to speak. And he gets those things. And when it's revealed what happens to that poor guy with the glasses, oh my gosh, that really freaked me out. It was like, oof, that's sunk in. And unfortunately for this group, I don't think Brendan Fraser or any of them really knew what they had going on here. But eventually he escapes. He gets out of there, and he amasses all these different plagues upon people, right? And that's a whole different side of the story we get to. But all of this came from just reading the book aloud. It was probably going to happen either way, but nevertheless, it happened. And that's what, unintentionally, she spawned this chaos that erupts upon this entire city here, the hidden city. So
the world, actually.
So it was a world level threat.
Yeah, because he's bringing the 10 plagues of Egypt with him.
Wow. Okay. I always thought maybe it was a little more contained at first, because we just see it
at first, but once he gets he resurrects the Noxuna moon, what is he going to do then?
It's a catastrophe.
He's going to go on a globe-trotting end of the world effort.
How did you guys feel about how Stephen Sommers did this, where he sort of took his time developing the power levels instead of just making him, OP from the start?
Yeah, regenerating his body. Yeah, his power. Well, okay, let's get into it then, about this it's something that's not well conveyed. It didn't get across to, and maybe Vex, you can talk about this if you recognize this. And Sommers was honest about it too in the commentary. So the guy that Imhotep gets his eyes from is heavily nearsighted. He gets his eyes from him and his tongue. There's an aspect and various moments and scenes where Imhotep, in his mummy form early on, calls Evelyn a Noxinamun. It was supposed to be that Imhotep thought that was a Noxinamun because of his bad eyesight.
I can believe that.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But when you first see the film, I'll ask you, Luke, Brawler, did you think that at all? That he...
No.
Yeah, exactly. That he had bad eyesight and he was mistaken. Yeah. So they clear that up later on when the Egyptologist explains, after Evelyn says, you know, what he did. He's called me a Noxinamun and he tries to kiss me. Oh, it appears he's chosen his human sacrifice. Well, why? Why would he try to kiss her? I think maybe during production, maybe they were trying to figure this out and tried to correct it in editing as well, because I know that there are some moments where they fudge the subtitles just for the convenience of what they need the audience to know. For example, for the example with the main magi, I forgot his name and I should know his name.
Ardith Bey.
Ardith Bey, thank you. He remember the scenes where he's on the ledge with the horses and the other guys next to him? They literally took the same line with different takes and did a day for night shot, you know, because you have one is during the day, one's at night, yada yada. He says the exact same line, which sounds like and they have different subtitles for the exact same line. He says it like 3 times because they were doing all of that in editing. So they're fixing imperfections with those subtitles and all that stuff. And with this, for example, with Imhotep mistaking or thinking that Evelyn is his princess, who's been, for some reason, he thinks that she's been resurrected. I don't know how, but that was the original conceit. And it's kind of cheesy when you think about it, but this adds to the greatness of the movie. You guys didn't know that, and it still works. And I would argue that it even works better.
Are you talking about the kissing scene where she's in bed?
Oh, that's just gross. And
it
works. Yeah.
In this scene, when he sees her for the first time, he calls her a Noxinamun.
Yeah.
Oh, that. Yeah. Okay.
And remember his inflection. He says, Noxinamun? It's a question.
I like the way that I had always interpreted, because she's read the book and that's what brings him back to life. So and he's kind of aware that in order for him to have ever come back, a book would have need to be read. He wouldn't have been resurrected otherwise because of all of the stuff that had been, you know, done to him to ensure his eternity of suffering sort of deal. So I always just kind of thought like, oh, he mistakes her initially because they look close enough. And like the sequel kind of plays around with it retcons it a little bit and plays around with that idea too. But
well, it makes it make more sense once you know this information. Once you tell someone, what I tell you guys, once you find this out, Brawler and Luke, is so he was supposed to be mistaking her for a Noxinamun. Yeah, I mean, if you just I've only seen the first film, it kind of is silly.
Yeah, I didn't think about that at all. It makes sense. I mean, the poor guy with glasses, his eyes, were screwed up, and we got a glimpse of his vision, and he couldn't see nothing.
Right.
So that's cool.
Which, by the way, he totally could have used his glasses. So what they were cracked, he still could have used them.
Yeah, right.
He could have.
Yeah. I respected. I thought it was kind of fun watching him level up a little bit. and seeing him, get a little bit, more human. And of course, in the end, he becomes like his ultimate form, right? I enjoyed watching that evolution. And I like that he was sort of like real sneaky in the beginning. He wasn't just, the bold powerhouse at all. Even though he was, he was not vulnerable here at all in this state, but he took it slow in the beginning. I love that. I love the buildup. That makes it interesting. Real quick, let me get to this super chat here from Mega Spidey Man. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us for €5. Is that what that is? Is that euro?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think this is the first European purchase we've had. So thank you, Mega Spidey Man. Hello there, lads. Anything in particular you're planning to watch / eat, etc. on Christmas? Are you hopeful for the Mummy 4? It sounds like we're a mix of hopeful for Mummy 4. I don't know yet, man. Sorry. I don't know well enough, but I think we have some optimism here in this panel. As for watching,
I'd have more if Stephen Sommers was coming back.
Yeah, that's so lame. Keeping him out.
Classic. Cautiously optimistic. Optimistic.
Because these are the same filmmakers those are the ones that they're hiring are the ones that did Ready or Not and Scream 5 or 6.
No, stop.
Exactly.
Close the show. Stop. No optimism. There's the answer, Mega Spider-Man. No optimism. We're pessimistic about this one. Those are bad titles. Oh no. Ready or Not was okay. No, I'm not doing anything with the new Screams. No, sorry. As for Christmas, we might as well reveal. Next week, we're talking about White Christmas on Tuesday. And we're doing it with Megan the Texan, Wilkie, Luke, and me. And maybe another guest. Yeah. So it's the girliest movie we've ever talked about, and I've seen it already, and I thought it was great. So it's gonna be fun. I'm interested in knowing how we could like talk about it. You know what I mean? Because it's like not too much happens in it, but we'll find a way. There's the fun stuff, and we're just gonna have fun. It's gonna be a Christmas stream.
Yeah. I actually had the chance to see it in theaters a couple months back.
Good.
Nice.
Yes, man. Cool. Yeah. Sweet. It's a good one.
Watch.
It's a visual spectacle, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I guess we already kind of talked about it. Anyway. One of my questions was, Evelyn, we're talking about how she's ditzy and such, and I'm glad you mentioned like she's curious. She was curious about the Book of Death, and yeah, it's called the Book of Death. But
Dead.
She didn't Book of Dead.
Book of the Dead.
Book of the Dead. Okay.
They say it like a dozen times, man.
Yeah, I know. Gosh, I am so tired right now. I've had the longest day of my life. So I'm here. I'm trying. All
right.
No, you're right. I should know better. I'm being bad tonight. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm so out of it. But and it's earlier too. It's not even later. Come on, it's 10:30. I'm turning into the old man. You said you're the old lady. I'm the old man. Listen to me here. Book of the Death or whatever I said. Forget it.
Take a breath. It's like turning red all of a sudden.
Gosh, shut up. But something about her with this book was that she didn't really seem like she felt much guilt for what she did, because I mean this was a serious thing that happened, and I was a little surprised that she didn't have a breakdown. I guess maybe it was because there was so much going on. She couldn't get swept up in the emotions. That was just something I kind of noticed that stuck out to me, because I think if I ever did something like that, it would definitely haunt me immediately. But at the same time, everything kind of goes to shit right from then on. And I guess you probably don't have much time to linger on.
There's none of these characters really linger on much of anything, because the movie just keeps going. You can't be sitting there having a breakdown while there's a immortal mummy chasing you down. Then you're just mummy fodder. So
yeah, what's really refreshing? This movie doesn't have one of those scenes where the characters open up about their feelings and their past traumas, bullshit like that.
Oh, you're right.
Let's look back at Jurassic World Rebirth, those fucking scenes on the boat and shit.
We don't talk about that movie.
Please.
Yeah, it's just look how far we've degraded in terms of script work and characterizations. It's just, this movie is so well paced and so well written for an action adventure, horror, monster, comedy, romance movie. It holds so many different genres in one and balances them so well. All props goes to Stephen Sommers for captaining this ship. It's amazing what he did.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I think that Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. You go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, the one moment where they kind of even broach on the emotion thing is like after everything goes down at Hamunaptra and Imhotep comes back. They're back at the hotel in the city, or which city were they in? One of the popular ones in Egypt. I don't know.
Was it Cairo?
Cairo. Thank you. And Evie starts packing her stuff up to leave and everything because she's kind of that's the closest we get to it. And even then it's just kind of like it's not so much out of safety for herself, it's just like hesitation because like the end is coming now officially. So she's just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Right. But even that works though as a character development tool. It also helps establish a little more repertoire between her and Rick, which up until like since that kiss, they haven't really gotten a whole lot of time together.
Yeah, that's true. I think, Kyle, I like you mentioning like, modern tropes of where we have to break down, the trauma of the past. Now, that is awful. I don't like that. But you know what? I do like a moment where you just sit down and, reflect on what's happening and you have a silent moment where you can, just embrace the emotions you're feeling. I think those scenes usually stick out to me, and those aren't here at all. Which, I think maybe could have helped a little bit. But,
you want a touchy-feely moment?
I like those, man. I'm into those. They're great. Rental Family is full of them.
You're making a lot
That's
of
a different movie.
Yeah.
I know, but I could take some of it in the story.
Bob, you're making a lot of questionable statements here about your masculinity and
oh no, here we go. Yeah.
This Kate Beckinsale was hotter in Click. I mean, what are we?
Come on, you need to rewatch Click, okay? Rewatch.
You need to rewatch Van Helsing. So.
It's fresh. It's fresh in my head. Gosh, man, everyone's picking fights with me today. These are fighting words. Gosh, let's see.
Does she have a heaving chest moment in Click? In a corset?
With dark red lipstick and these nice high-heeled boots.
Dark eyeshadow.
Yeah.
Perfect hair, even though it's unrealistic for that time, but who gives a fuck? It's a high fantasy movie and it's real fun. No,
Is she being like swept across a dance floor by Hugh Jackman at any point, Well,
that was the heaving chest moment.
All these things are missing. It should have worked.
I'm stranger than you right now, Bob. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. The moment Dracula runs his fingers down her cleavage. No.
Oh my gosh, that was like this movie's made by a dude. That's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I was like,
Stephen Sommers.
Here we go again.
You're crazy. There wasn't really many moments. Actually, well, there wasn't really any moment like that in this.
Oh, I could tell you a behind the scenes thing that they actually had to remove. So when they get out of the water after they jump off the ship.
Oh, great.
Vex, do you know about this?
I do know about this, yeah.
Why don't you tell it?
So Evie's wearing that white night dress during the boat scene, right? So originally she wasn't wearing anything underneath that when she came out of the water onto the embankment. So they had to digitally alter everything out. So we almost had an almost naked, wet, dripping Evie.
Yeah. So it was the raw shots are showing that. Now, if you're watching the 4K version, okay, there's a wide shot of when Benny and O'Connell are shouting at each other. It's a wide shot of them looking at them on the shoreline. You can see the shot that is originally untouched there, but the close-ups, medium close-ups of them on the beach are digitally altered to just make the chest white, etc.
You were looking way too close, bro.
Because I knew about this story for so long, so I figured, I'm watching the 4K version. Let's see if this wide shot actually preserves, and it does. So there you go.
I like that the two moments you've discussed the 4K version are to do with nipples so far. Love it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Well, you got to understand when I first saw it, I was 10 years old. So
I respect it. You know what? I respect it. It's fun.
I'm basically
this isn't health class.
I'm finishing up the job that my 10-year-old version started.
You're crazy, bro. Gosh. All right. Where do we go from here?
I love this movie.
Oh gosh. So going forward, of course, Evelyn gets taken by Imhotep, And I said that right? Imhotep?
Sure.
Yes, you got
Okay,
it. You
good.
got it.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So eventually she gets taken by him, the handsome mummy. Now he's turning into a human again. And he wants to, sacrifice her or go through some ritual with her. Maybe you guys can help me to better understand the ritual exactly, because obviously he wants to bring back his old lady. And he goes through with the sequence where he somehow he brings her back. He brings back his lady, which has a crazy name. I don't remember. Axamakaba something. And
Let's just let it be and just let
Axamakaba something. That's her.
Axamacabra, abracadabra.
That lady, whatever it is.
Name.
And I was kind of confused by that, because when we get to that point, when he brings back his old lady, Evelyn is still there. She's completely fine. Was there more to that process that was supposed to be happening by the time we get there? Because, it seemed like Evelyn's character was supposed to die and then she would be resurrected. I didn't really understand how that worked, because she came back, but she was ugly. She was a mummy. Was that not like the completed process?
So you know how Imhotep has been like harvesting human parts to go from mummy back into like a full-fledged human?
Yeah.
I think the assumption is that using the Book of the Dead, he can bring her soul back from the underworld into her original body, but she needs still to like harvest that flesh to be her full
the
form.
nutrients and the organs, because remember in the beginning, the opening prologue, you have all of the jars that you eventually see in that box they take out were full of they were full of Anaxunamun's organs.
Yeah.
And so he had him in front of him on that slab, So that was set up there, right? And there you go. Vex just explained how Evelyn's body would be utilized.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the ritual. By the way, I must say this screenshot that you have going on right now is from Mummy Returns, not this one.
Oh man, I liked it. Oh, so he comes back. Look at that. He's back again. I saw
Spoiler,
this,
yeah.
and I'm like, you spoiled it. I didn't know. I didn't need to know that, Kyle. I saw it online. I thought it was good. Great shot of him.
You brought it upon yourself.
He's not dead. He's not dead after all. Look at that. Great. I wouldn't have expected that. That's a surprise to me, because he looked pretty dead in this when he's, gets stabbed by Brendan Fraser's character.
Well,
when they bring him back, it works. Yeah, it's fun and it works in how they bring him back. Though the story gets there's a few more holes in the story to make it work, but it's still fun.
Okay.
Like in this final encounter when Brendan Fraser goes to save Evelyn's character from Imhotep here. It's an interesting one, I think it's like a moment in the movie where they embrace like the fun situation that this movie even is. Like, it's called The Mummy, but I felt like a lot of the time, I was hoping we would see a lot of different kinds of mummies more often. I mean, we had the main mummy, and then you had people that were like possessed by him and whatever else, but we didn't really get too much. Well, I guess we got a decent amount of mummy action, but I think in the end it really paid off well. I love what they did, especially like the royal versions that came and were sort of used as like, at first they were sort of rogue going after Brendan Fraser, but they ended up turning against Imhotep, which of course, like that was obviously going to happen. But what did you guys think about that final engagement that made it work so well? Because at the end of the day, it's like, it's kind of silly what they get away with. I mean, you have mummies chasing after Brendan Fraser in this room. He's firing at them with dual wielded pistols. And then you have the kind of Twinkie brother in the corner. He's kind of sillily trying to figure out what the text is while everybody's struggling not to die in the corners. So how did you guys feel about this final encounter?
I think they were much smarter. Obviously, Brendan Fraser and the others, they were much smarter since they were, humans, and they were playing everything in the best way possible. They were fighting with swords and guns. Obviously, the mummies were very weak. They were like mostly one hits. Brendan Fraser was.
Were they one hits?
Yeah, he was.
They
like
were kind of like they were
punching
being cut up though. I mean, and then they were still like posing a threat though.
Yeah, but then he started like elbowing and just like like punching them in the face, and they would just fall down and fall apart.
Yeah, those are the priest mummies. They're a lot more fragile.
Right.
It's when the soldier mummies come about that he
yeah,
has
that's right, yeah.
now formidable foes.
I'm kind of blanking from what happens after that part. I remember the soldiers walking up, and that's all I kind of remember. I forget how they played it after that.
Oh, so while they're trying to translate the book, they translate a piece of it that actually gives like the reader of the book control over the mummy guards, and then they turn the mummy guards onto Imhotep.
Oh, okay.
No, to Anaxinamun.
Oh, well, they use it on both, don't they? They first turn it on her, and then they turn it on him?
No.
Because don't they have to make him mortal?
No, she just she already read it, and then the chariot, the ghostly chariot, whoever that was, comes about, takes his immortality.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
and then Brendan
but not the
Fraser.
soldier mummies.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, and they take his immortality away, then he's mortal, and Brendan Fraser.
He doesn't realize that. Maybe that's a question. Actually, I'll ask everyone: did Imhotep realize? He should have. He's a smart guy.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, but he still went after O'Connell, who has a giant sword.
I think that was just a thing of pride.
He kind of looked like he was phased by the transition. He seemed like he seemed aware to me, but you're right. He just kind of came after him.
Yeah,
I bet. Well,
he doesn't know him as if he thought he was still immortal. He couldn't be hurt.
Maybe I think somebody here mentioned. I think Luke. Maybe you said ego, because I mean, come on, he's gotten away with doing a lot at this point. I mean, he's sucking the souls out of everybody. He's mind controlling hundreds of people in the city. He probably thinks he's invincible, and that whole. Like, that whole event was so strange. I thought that was the strangest moment in the entire movie, when the chariot comes down. I still don't really understand that. Like, what was that?
So, in the Book of the Dead, right? There's also there's just different things to control the dead in different ways, right? So in there's also, they managed to just conveniently translate a line that can take away his immortality. Because that's ultimately what's keeping Imhotep so indestructible, is that he can't die.
But that's really different. It's from the Book of Amun-Ra.
Oh, shit.
It's the Golden Book. So there are two books.
Yeah.
The Book of the Dead is matted black, essentially.
To resurrect.
Yeah. So that controls souls that are in the afterlife. And the Book of Amun-Ra, the Golden Book, is controlling lives that are currently living.
Yes.
Essentially, that's a rudimentary way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I thought that was like the Book of Amun-Ra. Amun-Ra. So I know that name. I know that name from what is that movie? Night of the Museum. I'm pretty sure that dude in Night of the Museum had that book, Amun-Ra.
Well, also, and we don't consider it canon because it was a travesty. That book appears in Tom Cruise's The Mummy movie. That Russell Crowe library. They have a shot where it's in there. So they tried to make Tom Cruise's Mummy also a part of Brendan Fraser's universe, and it just doesn't work.
Was that girl character, that wasn't supposed to be the same as the one in here, right?
No.
Okay, those are two totally different ones.
No.
Okay, that's good.
No,
that's refreshing.
It's basically a completely different story from this, but it's not. That movie was supposed to launch a whole universe. Just think about it that way, okay?
Right.
And it was so bad and did so poorly that Universal had to rethink everything.
My pops, he loves Tom Cruise, and he talks about, he thinks he's one of the best actors, and all his movies are great. But the one movie, like his biggest sin is Mummy. I think that's funny. I don't know. I don't know how he got into that position. I mean, if he's had this great tenure all these years, how the hell do you end up in that?
It's a good question, and it would be great for him to answer it. Because it's just, I don't know. Maybe he thought obviously he has a huge ego. I think it peaked around when he was being outspoken about Scientology, and he just alienated everyone in his career, circa 2006. But around that time was 2016 for the Mummy movie. I don't know. Maybe he thought it was something that was going to boost his career because that was when Marvel was really successful in the midst of that, and Universal was trying to replicate that success
Yes.
with the Dark Universe.
Yep.
And it could have been interesting, but it's just that the way that the movie was made, it just wasn't nowhere near as fun or the magic that this movie, the 1999's Mummy, has. Just nowhere near that. Plus the fact that Tom Cruise wasn't right for that role.
They probably just threw a lot of money at him because he still had his stardom attached to him, so he was still a box office ticket.
Yeah, he also had a lot of alimony to pay Katie Holmes.
That too, yeah. I feel like he lost people when he did the Oprah appearance with the couch and everything. That's where it wasn't even the Scientology; it was that ended up breaking.
I think it was a collective amount of things that happened.
All built up, yeah.
The Tom or the Lauer interview. Yeah. The leaked video of him getting that medal and the interview of him going crazy, talking about Scientology ethics and SPs. And the first video on my channel is me doing an impression parody of that interview, actually.
There you go, people. Check it out.
It was like 18 years old. Yeah, 18 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
You've been active a long time.
Yeah.
That's cool. You know, I think one of the more interesting characters of the whole movie was Benny's character, of course. You know, we talked about him a little bit. And I kind of wonder, I thought I had a picture of him here. I guess I don't, except, you know, he's barely there in the corner. But was his character, was he evil?
No.
Because, I mean, I don't know. He seemed kind of evil to me. I mean, we kind of are defined by a lot of the choices we make. And I don't think he makes a single decent choice in the entire movie.
He's a sleazy opportunist.
Yeah.
Who has no moral compass. He's just going where it's convenient for him, where he thinks he's going to end up on the top, and it just doesn't work for him. In fact, his downfall is greed when he can't even carry the sacks of treasure.
Back to the camel, yeah.
He takes a rest and he puts it on this lever that activates the entire city, just closing in on itself in certain sections. And yeah, it was greed that caused that.
Well, I mean, I guess it wasn't greed that caused it. The beginning of the movie when poor Brendan Fraser was trying to get to safety in that one room, and then he just kind of closed the door on him. He doesn't let him in.
Oh man!
So I mean, it's like, come on, why'd you do that, bro? I thought there was also like some questionable moments, like early on in the movie when Brendan Fraser, like you mentioned earlier in the stream, Luke, when you talked about him throwing Benny over the boat. I was thinking
a chair.
That could literally kill him. I mean, I didn't know what this like waters are he was sailing on, but I mean, this boat might have been going really fast. It might have been far out into the sea, and nobody would see him. It could be freezing cold in that water. I mean, I was kind of surprised to see our hero, the protagonist, doing something like that to somebody that was unarmed.
It was great.
And he was not being aggressive in that moment either. But, you know, we didn't really get any more moments like that from him.
No, Rick knew him. He knows that Benny's like a cockroach. He's going to spring up again. He knows him very well.
Okay, so you thought he had that intention.
Yeah, I think you're overthinking some of these like side elements in this. Like literally every background character aside from our main cast, more or less, is just kind of, it's just a representation of greed, the varying degrees of greed. Because you have to think of the context of the time period and where this is happening geographically. Everyone's just looking for treasure. That's literally only reason 90% of these non-Egyptians are in the region, period. So you don't need much more than that. I think Benny is just a nice twist on the conventional greed of like the Americans or the other sand people or whatever that are looking for Hamunaptra and the books and all that stuff.
I don't know. I guess with him, I thought he was more of a special case against everybody else because he stood out more. But yeah, I guess I could kind of see there being a case for him being evil. Because, you know, a lot of the choices he makes negatively impacts the rest of the group more so than, you know, the other kind of.
He's selfish. That is a degree of evil in itself.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, you know, something I was kind of surprised about by this movie was it's kind of a graphic movie in some parts.
Yeah.
And I was kind of surprised that it was PG-13.
Yeah.
This is like one of those cases where they barely get away with it. We watched Fifth Element. Jeez, was that only last week? I feel like that was a while ago.
By the way, you have
But-
a fucking horrible take about Fifth
Oh,
Element
come
now that
on.
I'm here.
We
We're
just
not talking about
can
Fifth
I just
Element
I
right
want to
now.
hear you Vex talk about this for just like 1 minute. Can you just
I don't understand how
Go
you
after
can
him.
hate the
Give it
Fifth
to him.
Element or say that's one of the worst movies you've ever watched when it is
No,
like
it wasn't worst. It was the worst
Oh.
out of all these movies we've watched in the Gen Z reviews. So it's like we've watched
That's a
38.
terrible thing to say
We've
as
watched
well.
That's
a
still
lot
a
of
terrible
great.
thing to say,
We've
yeah.
watched a lot of great movies.
And the
These
Fifth
aren't
Element
like
is one of
modern
those great
trash.
movies.
I'm not saying it's a terrible movie, but I there was a lot of elements I didn't like about it, and I was irritated. I don't want to be irritated watching a movie. That's not something I enjoy doing.
I was
So-
so upset that I wasn't on last week because I would have been on just to bully you for 2 hours. I would have sacrificed sleep just to call you a British cigarette for 2 hours over your thoughts on
Don't
that.
worry,
Nice,
everyone in the chat,
nice.
everyone in the chat got me. Don't you worry.
I've never heard anyone phrase it that way. I gotta say, let me give my 2 cents when it comes to that. You just that whole stream, and I'm tuning in when you don't know. You went so puritanical. That movie is not graphic when it comes to nudity, but you, Sin, we're just having a ball talking about
We were just,
this
it
movie
wasn't
is
so much.
revealing so much.
It
Oh my
wasn't
God.
so
I'm
much
right
about-
there with you, brawler. It's like,
It wasn't so
don't
much
show
about
any side boob whatsoever.
It wasn't so much about this movie. It was just the topic in general that we were talking about. It wasn't so much just that movie, but
Okay.
because it wasn't that severe. Shut up, man. We could have our preferences. We could not like.
No.
there are
I've
no
never seen you like that before, dude. You've talked to. I know, you want some things tastefully done. I get it, but you just like Sin was there, and
We
I
were
know
talking
Sin
about
as
it a
well.
lot, it's
You
true.
you two were just bouncing off of each other. Yeah,
It was nice.
don't
It was
exploit the
nice.
female
I
form
get all of y'all.
whatsoever. Nothing.
I get all of y'all hating
Don't
on me. It's like
celebrate
somebody would
beauty.
raise-
Oh,
Bruh. Come on, man.
no, it wasn't that bad,
Thanks.
honestly,
Thanks
yeah.
for getting my back, as always. I appreciate your I always wondered, like, if you ever listen, and now I know you sometimes do. I listen.
Oh, you
when
know what?
stream.
Proctophile messaged me and Gord messaged me, and they're just like,
Oh,
guys
they
will
wanted you to
believe-
jump
yeah,
in.
he was like,
Right.
go,
You will
Oh.
believe what
Oh.
Bob's take is on this movie. I'm like, oh no.
It's a good thing Emperor Goodwin wasn't in the chat. I'd be a little nervous. He's pretty good. Man. Okay. Well, I think we mostly have some pretty fun things to say about this movie. I know I did have a great time. I think this is a great. I could see like kids loving this. Like you, Kyle, watching this at a young age. This just
And being
appeals to
scared.
everything. Yeah.
Some of these scenes really were disturbing.
Yep.
And one aspect to it that I really love, and it's one of the last films that did it. And I made a short, and it's taken from one of my reviews for Alien Romulus. I made a comment and examination about how performances today in horror movies, whatever, it doesn't have to be necessarily a horror movie, but just scenes that have someone dying, the performances are so fucking weak.
Mhm.
And what I really appreciated about this, and it goes all the way back to Jaws that I reference in that, is Robert Shaw was giving this blood-curdling scream that was really effective and disturbing. You get those kinds of screams in this movie as well, and that's part of what makes it disturbing as well. I as a kid, as a 10-year-old, you're watching some of these scenes where guys are getting their body just drained of flesh and life, and you're hearing these agonizing screams. They're disturbing. The one of the scenes that was quietly disturbing was when he's having a meeting, not realizing that he's already had, it's the guy with the glasses, he already had his eyes taken out and his tongue.
Mhm.
He's in his room. He doesn't realize that the mummy is in front of him. He's just thinking he's this upscale guest that Benny has brought in. Benny's speaking for him, and he was going to reach out his hand and shake the guest's hand, and he knocks over a coffee or tea or whatever, and he says, "Please forgive me." And Benny says, "Oh, it's okay." Prince Imhotep thanks you for your
Oh
hospitality.
yeah, that's right.
And he says, "Oh no!" And this is the creepy part, and the camera's pushing in as he says it. He gets close to his ear, then he goes, "And for your eyes, and for your tongue."
Yeah.
What? But I'm afraid more is needed.
Yeah,
so
man.
10 out of 10 Betty voice.
That was good.
You sound just like him. You act just like him too. Perfect.
next he's gonna say, "You look just like him too." Just because I had those comments about his live stream.
Bastard.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
agreed. The beetle under the skin, those scenes fucking terrified me. Even just
Ooh.
like the final scene with Benny where
Yeah.
you see the light just going out slowly, like that just terrified me just thinking about being stuck in a tomb like
Mhm.
that and having to have those
Mhm.
beetles eat you
Mhm.
to death. Like,
Mhm.
oh, a lot of like powerfully scary moments in this film.
Mhm.
I'd say the ceiling jumping down would be. I'd rather have the Beatles. I know it's sick to say. I'd rather have the. I don't know. I'm very claustrophobic. So just the fact of a ceiling dropping in on me is like nightmare fuel. But also the kissing scene in the bed. You know, that's the most disturbing scene for me.
Oh, that was so
That's
gross.
disgusting.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't want to be kissed by a mummy.
No.
I mean,
Not by Imhotep.
Like it's
no.
like rotting. It was so gross.
Yeah.
He was getting into it. It was.
Yeah, think of how badly that smelled.
Yeah.
You know, I loved
Just taking it.
You know, I really liked the ending. I thought the ending was a lot of fun when Brendan Fraser, of course, you know, they barely make it out alive, and they didn't leave with anything. You know, at first, at least, it looks like that, of course, until they get on the cam when I don't know if they even realize that they have gold in the
They don't,
saddlebag. Okay, so yeah, look at that, they had
Mhm.
treasure, but I just
And Benny
you know,
put
it's
it
kind
there,
of-
and
it's
then he was going back
kitschy.
for more.
Mhm.
It's kitschy when he's like, you know, I got the treasure I need right here. And then he starts making out with
He doesn't say
Jonathan's
that
sister.
line.
Well, it's like that. It's like he says something
it's
similar.
It's better written.
Paraphrasing. Yes, paraphrasing.
Okay, so
But I loved
may
that
I-
scene. I thought that was a fun way
may
to
I
end the
correct
movie
this
after
moment?
all of the bleak.
Yeah, act
all
it
the
out. Let's
bleak
hear the
drama
voices.
we've had
Let's
recently.
hear the voices.
Okay, so after I forgot his name again. The Magi.
Ardith Bay.
Thank you, Bex. I'm glad you're here. So Ardith Bay, you know, does adios. Doesn't
Mhm.
say that, you know, because he's Arab.
Goodbye, my friend.
See you in the next one. And the brother goes, and he's leaving us. Okay. All right. Well, I guess we get to go home empty-handed again. Cut to Brendan Fraser standing next to Evelyn. And he says, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, there you go.
And then they
Nice.
look at each other, and then they have that moment where he kiss, and then the brother goes, please.
And the
Come on, I was
score
close
just gets
enough.
over.
I was close enough, bro.
I don't know.
Paraphrasing.
Anyone else want to say if he's close enough to what the movie actually is?
Whatever. Same
I don't
idea.
know.
I don't remember. I can't remember everything all the time in one sitting. All right. I need to watch the movie 50 to 100 times. Then I could
Look,
contest you.
I know I'm coming across very fucking cocky, but the only reason is because I've watched this since I was 10 years old.
Right.
So I'm very defensive about it. That's
all
You
right.
know what? Like there is so much rewatchability. Like I would recommend watching this at least 2 more times.
Oh,
because
yeah.
you will
Yeah, I
uncover
agree.
so much. And I think a lot of the questions you had about just how things work, they get answered. Like Stephen Sommers is very, very subtle, and it feels forgetful on the first watch with how he manages to work out some of the story details, but like literally everything that happens, there's like a minute scene that plays into it. He just really packs in the narrative with a lot of that, and he does the same thing in Mummy Returns. So yeah, definitely watch it again.
Okay. Yeah. I thought this was going to be a good one to have in the background while I do my art. I think it just has so much like great audio too. Great audio story. I really feel like I could follow along. But yeah, I guess everybody, that's a recommend. We all love The Mummy, so definitely got to check it out. Stay tuned for next Tuesday. We're going to be talking about White Christmas. Like I said, Megan the Texan, Wilkie's Movies and Music, Luke, me. Hopefully Ty could possibly join if you know his system works. Poor guy. Real quick, I see that Proctfile gave us a $2 super chat. Just you wait, Brawley. I have plans for you in 2026, so that's never a good sign.
That sounds
He's
trepidatious.
That's scary, Proctfile. Hopefully, good plans. I'd appreciate some good plans. Always need some good plans.
He
We got
divulged
some good
some
plans.
of those plans to me in a Discord conversation. So,
Oh gosh, great. Y'all are gossipers. Stay away. Stay away. No, but yeah, we appreciate you all for watching, joining us today. Please make sure to check out these guys, check out their channels, got their links in the description below. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for us guys. You know, always remember, you know, I tell everybody this, you know, it's Christmas time, right? It's a time where you kind of meet with your family and you think back to the gory days. And something my grandma used to always say to me, she'd say, Jackson, give him the Duke and give him the dog. We'll see you next Tuesday, everybody.
The hell does that even
What kind of person are you? Are you the kind that sees signs